All right. Hey guys, I am talking to a young lady who I met on the internet, and why don't we let you explain?
Okay, so we were talking about life and how longevity of it.
Yeah.
And I was saying that I wasn't worried about how long I was going to live because it didn't look like it was going to be to like 70s or something like that. And I was explaining how my doctors don't know, but they think I might have POTS. Yeah.
Can you explain to us what POTS is?
Postural orthostatic tachycardia syndrome. I can give the long answer or I could give the shorter answer that I give normal people. My heart goes really, really fast and it doesn't like calming down until I clock out and faint essentially.
So
Yeah.
that must be tough. How long have you experienced those kind of symptoms, and how long have you kind of been diagnosed as well?
Well, diagnosed with it, no, but like looking, they think it is POTS, like them starting to think that has been for the past like year. From what they think, I've had symptoms of it since I was 11 and I am 21 now, so that's a long time. And it started becoming more aggressive when I was 17.
So they picked up on something when you were 11.
Yeah, it can be caused by things like blunt force trauma, especially to the head. It can be caused by physical traumas. I was in a car accident, and that's when my symptoms started occurring.
Wow, that's
Yeah.
wild. So, what do you think the connection is with POTS and having a stress event, like a traumatic event in your life? Has anyone told you or spoken about that, maybe? Or
No.
so it's just basically right now you're just under the impression that there's a condition that happened after an event, but there's no
Yeah.
real link as to why, what, or how to solve it, or like, have you been given any medications or anything?
No, because they haven't full
Oh,
on
because they
diagnosed it
oh, yeah, they
yet.
haven't fully
I
diagnosed.
had to do the Holter monitor test. My PCP was like kind of awful in this case. My After my Holter monitor test, I had to wear my Holter monitor for 3 days. My doctor, my primary care
That
physician.
sounds like something Charles Manson prescribed you, you know? It's like, here's your helter skelter monitor. I'm gonna put this in your
Yeah.
head so you remember to obey my orders.
The Holter monitor was like a device that sits like, where's my heart? Right here. And they had like, it's basically like a live EKG like recording. It
Oh,
kind of is how I would explain it. And they saw that my heart at cap hit like 189.
you mean the ECG, right?
I'm not sure of the science behind a Holter monitor, but from what it was like when I would get EKGs done in the past. So I do know that I did EKGs in the past,
Okay,
and it
yeah.
was like those because they put the weird electro thingies
The
on your
probes.
yeah, like around your heart and on different areas of your body, and I had to wear mine for 72 hours.
Wow.
And they said that my heart at like its highest hit 189, and they were like, "Were you doing any really difficult exercises or something?" I'm like, "No."
You're just chilling.
Yeah, I was like, I was probably sitting down majority of the time.
Would
Hmm.
you say your heart rate's like firing like crazy high right now?
I also get tremors, and it's not really that bad right now. Like, you can see twitching and, like, kinda shaking. No. It's not, like, super bad at this
So
moment.
what happens when you get excited or something, or you do like well, I guess you don't exercise much because you probably can't.
I feel really sick every time I do. If I get too angry or, like, stressed out, or let's say I'm, like, in an argument, which is, like, the main times it's
Oh, yeah.
affected me, even if I'm sitting down, my vision just, like, goes black. One of the last times I had a big argument, and this is when I first started going, like, back to going to the doctors and stuff and actually looking for answers more. One, I was exposed to an allergen at this time unknowingly. They put an allergen that I had near me, and I got into an argument with them.
Right.
And I went to leave the situation. I was standing and I hit 187 and I collapsed that day and I went to the hospital.
Interesting. So, I mean, so they haven't diagnosed you yet.
No,
Does that frustrate you that they haven't diagnosed you yet? Like, shouldn't
of course.
have you kind of pushed for it? You're like, hey, look, it's kind of obvious. There's something going on here. Can you get on with it? You know.
Yeah. They don't really listen. Well, given I live in America. Doctors don't really listen very well, and if you try to tell them that you know there's a problem, they start thinking, "Oh, well, now they're just talking it into themselves," or
Yeah.
something like that.
I mean,
Even if you have proof of it.
newsflash, right? You can't just claim the trauma for yourself. Okay, our doctors in the UK, they don't really listen either,
Oh, okay.
or anywhere in the world really, unless I don't know. They
I just have
listen,
never been there.
but yeah. So would you say, I've got a really curious question for you. Would you say
Okay.
that you're also really sensitive to bright lights and loud sounds as well?
Yeah, heavily.
Yeah.
I have anxiety issues, which is also somehow linked. I did my own research when they told me that they thought I might have it. So
So,
apparently that's also linked.
so how long ago did they actually pick up and say, look, we think you might have POTS? Was this recent years or was this age younger?
This is recent years. Before that, they thought something might be wrong and tried to chalk it up to my weight as I don't weigh a lot.
That's ridiculous.
Yeah, and then when that theory of theirs panned out, they just went, "Well, guess you're fine," and just sent me on my merry way.
That's wild.
And that was when I was 17, was when that was happening,
So you
and I just gave up.
you mentioned anxiety in there. You don't have to share this, but like, do you take any meds for any of that? Or
I have at periods of time, but it didn't really work for me. Plus, I don't think I've ever truly been in a headspace where I needed to, but I have at periods of time it didn't work out.
do you ever feel like intuitively something tells you inside that a medication like that is more of a band-aid? It might put off the anxiety, but it creates like a whirlwind of other problems. Maybe it even accentuates and exacerbates your condition.
Yes, I have felt that way. And this was even before I truly started looking into the heart stuff that might be wrong with me. I wanted to go into psychology from a young age. So I kind of already had a mind to worry about that. And most of the time, though, it was mostly just that the medications didn't interact with me well.
Mm.
Like as soon as I saw emotional bluntness, I quickly stopped. There was one medication that gave me hallucinations. And I quickly stopped that one, even though my psychiatrist at the time was telling me to continue it. I was like, absolutely not. This is not a problem I typically have. I would not like that.
That is wild. Would you happen to remember the names of some of them?
So the one that I was hallucinating on was Lexapro.
Oh, geez.
Yeah.
That was so wild.
One gave me heart palpitations and emotional bluntness. That was Zoloft.
You've been on some nasty stuff.
SSRIs just don't work for me.
How old were you when you started the SSRIs?
I think the first time I was put on SSRIs, I was 15 or 14.
Wow.
Yeah.
Don't you think that's kind of wild?
Yeah, considering the fact that I've never been, like, in a psych ward, I've never had issues where they feared I was gonna harm myself or
Yeah.
others, like, there's never been a thing with that.
Did you
So it's
feel
just
like
weird.
did you feel like they're kind of handing them out like smarties now that you look here?
Yeah, heavy on that one.
That's wild. I mean, I go on a lot of sometimes I find a lot of older people on social media through groups on Facebook about health and stuff. Yeah, I know. It's by the way, it's like a social media platform. In case you don't know, like
Okay.
us old, we still have Facebook accounts and stuff.
I'm aware of what Facebook is, but
But yeah, like there's groups on there, and there's actually groups for Lexapro, there's groups for Zoloft, sertraline, and it's actually really fascinating that when you type in the names of some of these groups, and if you're listening to this right now, listener, I challenge you, if you have a Facebook account, to do this for yourself. Just go on Facebook in the search box and type in Lexapro or sertraline, Zoloft, any one of these medications, and you'll find very quickly the group names. There's various groups and there's different numbers of groups, so you get like more than one group for each medication. The title of some of these groups, it says sertraline or Zoloft should be illegal, Lexapro should be illegal, and these groups have tens of thousands of members in them, and they're all discussing various different symptoms. Some of them are talking about coming off it. And I have to say, largely what I see in these groups is a description of the symptoms and, ultimately how many people are just becoming numb.
oh yeah, emotional bluntness is a
Yeah.
heavy thing for that.
And the trade-off there is just, and so I just don't see any posts in there that are like overwhelmingly positive, like,
Yeah.
oh, I got my life back, oh, I'm fully functional now. It's kind of like just trading.
I wish that was the case for me.
I feel like those medications just sort of like trading symptoms, like you trade your anxiety for something else, Tell me about the entire journey of you coming off them. What made you think about coming off them? How long were you on them? How much help did you get coming off them? Did you come off them cold turkey? Did you take your time?
So I remember it mostly for Lexapro. because that one was the last SSRI I was on. But for Lexapro, I started hearing and seeing things that weren't there. Anybody that talked to me knew that I just looked like a literal zombie. And
You still do. No, I'm joking. I'm just messing with you.
this one's a choice at least.
You're a good-looking zombie.
Oh,
There you
thank
go.
you. But yeah, I was basically a zombie. Like, if you talked to me, it took like a minute for me to register every time. I couldn't tell the difference between what was real and what wasn't. Like, I would frequently contemplate what reality was. And this was a weird one. I would get really itchy.
Oh yeah, that'll be a
Yeah.
that'll be a lot of the time with medications. They're not like just
Yeah.
digested and excreted. They have to go through your liver and
Yeah.
be like, and the metabolites of the medications need to be processed almost like toxins. And so your body goes through different stages of trying to detoxify that. And if the normal stage 1, stage 2 processes of detoxification do not clear those metabolites, they start accumulating in the liver. And then once they spill over, they're basically the last resort, like let's call it stage 4 or stage 5. I don't know
Yeah.
too much about this, even though I've got a huge book on toxicology over there. When it gets to the final stages, what your body does is it pushes out those metabolites or you know, the toxins onto your skin, which is the last defense mechanism because it's got the widest surface area. So when your body doesn't know what to do with certain like compounds, you know, it sends them out to the skin and you get like nasty skin reactions or get itchy.
I don't know how in depth you want me to go with this one because it is kind of in the self-harm category
We like
due to
depth.
the medication.
We like,
So
but
I would get
just not depth in like the actual cutting
Yeah,
process.
no, not like that. It was just that I would get so itchy that I would scratch myself so quickly that I would like full on burn myself. And that was a thing that then my brain, even after the medication, picked up on. And anytime I get super anxious now, I get extremely itchy and it still happens. And it's not like I'm trying to hurt myself. It's that my brain, it functions as itchy, scratch, get rid of itchy. But what happened after was I talked to my psychiatrist that was prescribing the medication. He said, "Oh, no, it's fine. Just continue. Maybe take yourself down to half a pill." So I did that instead. And then the next time it was still happening. When I tried to talk to him about it, he went, "Oh, we forgot to give you a therapist at the same time. You were supposed to have one this whole time. We just forgot to give one to you." Yeah, maybe cut the halves in half. I just stopped listening to him at that point and just weaned myself off of them because I thought that going cold turkey would cause more issues. And I basically ghosted that psychiatrist
Okay.
because I was so angry at that point and I couldn't even show it.
So was that the same kind of for both those medications you were on or like just one?
For Zoloft, I was getting heart palpitations and we kind of just talked to the psychiatrist that was prescribing them and they stopped prescribing them to me, but they never found another thing they wanted to do because I kind of just was after that I was like, I don't want to. It's scaring me. Actually, it's giving me more anxiety. And oddly enough, I felt upset because I would have like normally because I have panic disorder as well. I would have panic attacks and then the emotion would be gone and I would like have sorted it out kind of my brain had sorted it out in its own like messed up way. And I couldn't get over that hump every time I was on Zoloft and I was just sat there in the middle of it.
Stuck in it sort of thing.
Yeah.
Wow.
And so I was just like, I don't want to do it again. And then when something else bad happened to me later on in life, I was like, okay, I'll try again. I'll talk to a psychiatrist. I'll talk to a psychologist. You know, I'm willing. First conversation that person had with me immediately prescribed me the Lexapro. That's what happened.
That's so nuts. I don't know what to tell you. So in these conversations with these psychiatrists and any of these medical professionals, what level of detail did they go into with talking about lifestyle factors such as diet, exercise, sleep, you know, stuff like just the regular stuff like that?
Go for walks. If you feel like you need to scratch or you feel like a panic attack is coming on, snap a rubber band against your wrist. Like, eat enough food. They constantly were thinking I had anorexia. Don't. I didn't know what to tell them. They wouldn't believe me. I didn't know what to say to that. And drink enough water. Socialize, which I already was doing. And then it even got to a point where some of them like would tell me that I needed to have a support system, and in which case I already did. So I kind of didn't receive the amount of help with those things that one might think I would, because I kind of was doing majority of them already
Interesting.
because I did my own research.
Love it when people do their own research. It just kind of sucks though that a lot of the information out there is hard to scramble through. You don't know like who's funded what information and like,
Yeah.
you know, so it's very difficult now because a lot of my videos are about this, but it's like the whole complex of the food system, the pharmaceutical system,
Oh, yeah.
and the trillions being made off of these industries kind of make you wonder whether you should, even with our limited knowledge, we're probably better off going by our own intuition a lot of the time and just, you know, knowing that we shouldn't trust people blindly. And I think trusting is sometimes, you know, I get it, we're all busy and stuff, but trusting can be like laziness sometimes. You know, you have to do your own due diligence and find people who've maybe come out of the situation themselves without any of these meds and stuff.
I did have an odd experience with that one, though, by the way. Doctors didn't like me doing my own research. They felt that it furthered my anxiety and that I was, once again, talking it into myself. I felt like I was being gaslit every conversation.
I mean, I believe you. I want to open that up. I want you to tell me as much about that as you can first.
Well, it's mostly just something I've dealt with is as soon as they hear that you have like anxiety issues when it comes to like overthinking.
They grab it and they point it back at
Yeah.
you. And they're like, you've got anxiety. Shut up. You've got anxiety.
Yeah.
You don't know anything. I'm the doctor. You're anxious. Shut up. Like,
Yeah. Even if you're saying like, I could say, well, somebody just like pew-pewed me in a leg, and they'll just be like, nah, you're anxious about that, bro. Like that didn't happen.
yeah, it's just, it's all in your head. It's psychosomatic. Oh, man.
Yeah, exactly.
That's wild. Well, I guess they say that about everything. Anything that they don't agree with, they're just like, it's your anxiety. When you say gaslit,
I don't think they're full-blown gaslighting me, but I do think it's
it
like,
kind of feels like passive gaslighting, doesn't
Yeah.
it? It's like, just do what we say. If you become difficult, we become difficult kind of thing, you know?
Yeah, which led me to like an issue where if any, like, this is bad. If any doctor starts doing that to me, I immediately get like defensive of like, oh my God, no, they're not going to believe me because these other doctors didn't, and now they're doing similar things. So I'm just gonna have to sit here and feel sick all the time because they don't want to feel that I'm right.
It can be easy to take these things very personally when you're dealing with a one-on-one, you know, you're dealing with a physician one-on-one. These people are trained, they've got years of experience, and you feel like you're being underserved in a way. And you know, medical insurance and medical costs in the US are freaking insane as well. You wonder to yourself, like, why is this happening? Is this personal? But then when you step back from it, you realize that when you process it, you think, I wonder, did these doctors, did these psychiatrists, did these medical physicians, clinical practitioners, when they went into this career, did they have any awareness of how little they're going to be helping people and how many, right? Or
I have scratched the surface of working in healthcare.
Right? Or did they go into these careers thinking they're going to be like with a cape? You know, with the cape on, like, I'm going to save people. Like, I'm going to help people with their lives. You go into the medical degree, they don't know what they're going to learn. They might have thought we're going to learn about food and nutrition and lifestyle and how that all, you know, synergistically helps you avoid getting sick. But they don't learn that. They spend in like their 5 or 6 years of medical training, they learn about 6 or 7 hours worth of nutrition. And most of that is basic. Like, it's not even like advanced nutrition. It's very basic, you know, like eat 5 fruits a day and you'll be fine. Drink 5 cups of water a day and you'll be fine. And that is kind of crazy that we actually even expect anything from them. And the wild thing is, if you went independently and went to find like a nutritionist or a dietitian, it gets even worse because that's
ironic.
Yeah, they don't actually know what they're talking about, and they're kind of trained with the same sort of models, you know, meaning like the information that they're being trained to give is very unhelpful, and it's based on very old like paradigms, you know, from like 50 years ago. So all of the scientific studies that tell us everything we know today about like, you know, low carb diets, intermittent fasting, things like that.
Yeah.
the role that these play, it hasn't actually trickled through into the medical system yet because there's no incentive for the research to be done there. There's incentive for medications because they're cheap to produce. So pharmaceutical companies and people who lobby with them, they fund this because you've got a product that's going to make them tons of money. And so they'll say, this is going to help. Lexapro is going to help because it not only makes us tons of money, but guess what? It might just heal you. It might help you, Like some people said it helps them. So what would you rather stay like this the rest of your life, or do you want to take the risk? It's up to you guys. Here's the red pill,
Yeah.
And so whereas there's no multi-trillion-dollar like business around, hey, eat some eggs or some fish or like some broccoli,
Yeah.
Did they mention eggs? Did they even mention food?
I eat a lot of that stuff anyway, so I mean, wouldn't have made much of a difference for me at least. No, I'm a human garbage disposal. Yeah. No, they didn't really bring a lot of those things up into it. They just said make sure you're eating, essentially.
Let's talk about the food side of things for a second. So what do you eat?
I also will eat most crap, so like fast food as well, like a bunch of McDonald's and Taco Bell, and then ramen.
Where's your Monster Energy drink collection?
I actually stopped drinking a lot of caffeine after I found out about like that I might have POTS. So I drink mostly water now.
All right, good. You sharp learner.
Water and juices and Gatorade.
The caffeine, the alcohol, they can get you. Tea actually can get you as well.
I drink non-caffeinated tea.
Smart cookie.
So, because I didn't like just drinking normal water. I don't know why. I just didn't like it. So I started off by just drinking non-caffeinated teas. I made sure that I looked up for non-caffeinated teas.
That's amazing. I'm glad you've actually reached that level of awareness. Most people don't get that far, so,
I only drink soda, like caffeine, like when I'm out and stuff. That's about it. Not an everyday thing.
Sparkling water? You like sparkling water?
Mm-mm.
No, it's not your thing? So many Americans are so against sparkling water.
My fiance calls it disappointment water.
Okay, so how many meals a day?
How many meals a day? Oh, God. Around 5.
I can see your problem.
Around 5 meals a day.
And snacks, right?
I don't eat a lot of snack foods. No. I mean, like, sometimes, I do eat candy and like chips once in a blue moon. That kind of just depends on the vibe. Yeah.
Interesting.
I got every food group. I got healthy. I have crap. I have...
Yeah, you need moderation, right? You need balance and moderation. Do you think maybe if you could just not eat the crap and maybe just eat the health, do you think like you would, obviously it would be the best way forward, right?
So with the idea that I might have POTS.
Yeah.
Back to that for a second, because it goes hand in hand with this. Standing up and cooking for longer periods of time is harder. We now have a chair in our kitchen that I sit on whenever I'm cooking anything. But
do you have
things like that are difficult.
Do you have one for the shower?
No, because I take baths now. I just kind of avoid the shower altogether.
It's like you need nap time as soon as you come out of the shower.
Yeah. As soon as I come out of the shower, I'm like, I'm done. I'm done. Don't talk to me for the next 2 hours.
I'm going to hit you with some devastating news that you might. So we haven't spoken about your energy levels at all in this conversation, but I'm willing to bet that you are the type of person who is extremely highly active. Your mind runs all the time. And you want to be around doing stuff, but somehow you burn out. I
overwork myself.
You burn out all the time and you barely ever have any energy to do anything at all. And it gets worse and worse and worse.
Yeah.
Do you know what we call that? We call it chronic fatigue syndrome. Have you heard of it?
I've heard of it.
What do you know about chronic fatigue?
It makes you eepy.
It makes you what?
It makes you sleepy. It makes doing tasks that a normal person would deem easy, difficult. Which most of the things going on with me already does that. It kind of causes people to be way more irritable. And
I wouldn't say it always makes you eepy because you are currently sitting there in the middle of the night in America. You haven't slept.
Oh, I have insomnia.
You haven't slept. You have insomnia. So we can't really say it makes you
I woke up at 4 p.m.
Okay. Say it makes you fatigued, meaning like you might be awake all the time, but you like drained. Like, is that more accurate?
Yeah, probably. I sleep for long periods sometimes.
So is that insomnia been a recurring thing since you were younger?
Oh, yeah.
Would you say, without too much detail, whether this has affected your female cycles and things like that.
I can't tell because my doctors also think I might have endometriosis.
Yeah.
But that's not for sure either.
Yeah, that usually comes into it as well. Be careful of that spinach, is all I'm going to say.
Wait, why?
Spinach is like, just in brief, spinach is like one of the most pesticide contaminated like vegetables out there. And the pesticides, when you eat foods with pesticides, if you have any hormonal disruptions, which endometriosis is, highly correlated, tied to hormonal disruptions, estrogen dominance usually is these pesticides, and they're called endocrine disruptors.
Okay.
And estrogen mimics. So they kind of mimic the estrogen molecules. So even though your body's not like it just adds fuel to the fire kind of thing. So that's why if you're going to eat spinach, you kind of want to go organic with the spinach as much as possible. I remember spinach and apples.
Yeah.
And kale as some of the top foods to probably buy organic because of the amount, and celery as well. So, I mean, if you only eat one of those things, then maybe it's one that's worth paying a little extra to go organic with, because you'll find that the number of pesticides used on the organic is very limited, like 2 or 3, versus like the 18 or 20 different chemicals used on spinach and celery and stuff. Okay. So that might be helpful for you. But
you're asking me if it disrupted any of my cycles, but I don't know.
Oh, yeah. So there's that, right? So endometriosis. Another thing you might want to look into is the listeners can't see this, but I'm about to show you this bottle on the camera. Let me switch the camera real quick. See this? It's called Lugol's iodine. Iodine, yeah. You guys call it iodine. This stuff here will help you tremendously because it has, endometriosis is sort of to do with like a lot of it's associated with like cysts and stuff like that. You know about that, right?
Of that.
Right. So iodine has a very anti-tumor effect, anti-cyst effect. Not only that, but it's great for you.
Quick question. How does one apply that?
You just take a jar like this or some big glass of water. You just get, this stuff is really cheap, by the way. So this bottle cost me like $15-20, right? And it will last me probably about 5 or 6 years or something like that, maybe longer. You just take a drop and you just put it in the water. That's literally it. It doesn't taste bad or anything.
Okay. I was scared. I was so scared.
It looks kind of crazy. It's like a brown liquid and it looks scary.
Oh, I was scared about the application method.
Yeah.
As far as vaginal cysts.
No. You just drink it. I mean, I don't have vaginal cysts and I drink this stuff almost daily.
I would assume.
The other bonus is it boosts your IQ by like 2 points in studies. The other bonus is it's antimicrobial. And the other main thing about this iodine is even if you didn't have any of those issues or you didn't need a solution for that, it is essential in your body and it is a cofactor that works with vitamin D, which you probably also are lacking if you don't take that.
Drink Sunny D if that helps.
No, Sunny D. Sunny D, no good.
Sunny D.
No, Sunny D's, no Sunny D. That stuff's evil. All right, no more Sunny D.
Taste okay.
I bet it does. I grew up on that stuff. I used to
Orange water, sugar.
Honestly, I do have to say, for someone who's going through a plethora of health conditions, some of which you're probably not even aware of yet, some of which are on the way, sorry to say.
Probably.
Things like rheumatoid arthritis, these things can creep up later on if you develop more severe autoimmune responses. Are you aware of autoimmune disorders?
I'm aware that they are a very large thing with POTS. They can make you immune compromised. Well, POTS can make you immune compromised. I already just have issues with my immune system.
So taking a high strength vitamin D supplement, not one that's prescribed, just something independently that you find, I would highly recommend that you consider maybe taking much higher doses of this stuff. The studies show the outcomes of people who take higher vitamin D tend to be better, and I can definitely attest to that. So yeah, high strength vitamin D definitely will. So do you take any supplements?
I'm raw dogging life, man.
Are you, that sounded wild. I'm not going to judge you for it, but do you think like vitamins, supplements, are kind of like expensive urine, like they're just a waste of money?
I've never looked at it. Mostly because I can't get myself to remember to take something every day because there's just, like, too much happening in my head all the time.
Mm.
Yeah.
All right. So I'm going to try and be helpful as
Okay.
best as I can. So remember I showed you this book?
Yes. Yes, you did show me that.
And I showed you the high calorie malnutrition part. So the high calorie malnutrition part, I don't know if I said this already, but it's basically you get the type of nutrients that the medical people focus on is the macros. So like protein, carbs, fats, fiber, right? What no one will ever talk to you about, right? Even some of the nutritionists and dietitians, they won't talk about is all the micronutrients. Iodine, the one that I just showed you, is one of those micronutrients. But you might have heard of some of the others like copper, zinc, cobalt, iron, potassium, magnesium. I mean, so with the situation that you've described to me, it sounds like you do have a high calorie malnutrition situation. But in those meals that you're having, you're getting more like material food, like actual like weight, bulk food. But in that, it's not dense with nutrients. It's not concentrated with nutrients. It creates a situation where your body now, like imagine you've got tons of actual bulk food that's gone into your body. But now to actually process that food, to break down that potato or that whatever you might have ate, right? To break it down, even if it's a steak, even if it is something healthy, you need the certain chemical reactions in your body, proteins that make enzymes. The enzymes break down the protein. All these enzymes and all these reactions that happen in your body, they all rely on micronutrients, on a intricate hormonal signaling, intricate neurotransmitter signaling, the function of your entire body in some respects, every organ in your body is kind of working with that process. You need micronutrients to break it down effectively and to use it effectively, to get it into your cells effectively. If you don't have those micronutrients, what happens is your body starts developing mechanisms to downgrade your life.
Yeah.
It basically creates fatigue.
So I'm getting nerve.
Your body's nerfing itself.
Yeah.
And the reason it does that is a protective mechanism. I believe with eating disorders as well, it's the same sort of thing. So you might not even identify as like, oh, I have an eating disorder, or a lot of people attribute this to like weight and their body image and stuff. It doesn't.
I know I have an overeating one. That's about it.
Yeah. So it's going back to it. It's high calorie malnutrition. So what happens is your body, when it's starved of micronutrients, it craves even more. It's looking for foods with the micronutrients in. But until you actually give it that, every time so it will look for the micronutrients, then you give it something that doesn't have any micronutrients, and then it downgrades even more, and then it goes back even more. And then you just get fatigued. Eventually you can't eat much. That's the process. So in order to reverse that outcome, you need nutrient density. First, you need to deliver your body the basic minerals that it's starving for, right? Even people who seem very healthy, who don't take these minerals, are deficient in them. Like a lot of people think that there's healthy individuals out there doing their thing. I promise you, even the people who seem healthy, even the fitness influencers out there, and all these healthy people, a lot of them are deficient in basic minerals, and they're kind of they're not meeting their needs. And so can you guess what one of the most important minerals for you right now might be?
As you were saying before, that it might be vitamin D.
There is that.
Yeah.
That is probably the second most important.
Iron? No. Copper? Iodine? I don't think iodine is a mineral, but we're going to keep going.
It is a mineral. It's a mineral.
Is it actually?
Yeah. It's actually magnesium. Magnesium is the master mineral for humans, especially for females. 80% of females in the world are devastatingly deficient in magnesium. Do you have a sense of, if you were to take magnesium, what it might do for you, like in terms of what effects you might notice straight away?
I'd assume less fatigue, especially during cycles if it's more of a women thing.
Yeah.
And then I'm thinking, sorry, that's a difficult task.
I'll help you out.
Okay, thank you.
It literally improves everything. And the reason why it improves everything, because remember I mentioned thiamine earlier as being one of the things that helps you produce ATP, which is your energy currency molecule. That thiamine requires magnesium for it to work.
Yeah.
So now your two most, important things are thiamine and magnesium. That's what will produce your energy for your body to actually heal itself.
Okay.
So magnesium is actually a cofactor to vitamin D. It's one of the, so remember I said iodine's a cofactor to vitamin D?
Yeah.
It's one of the smaller cofactors. It's still important, but it's smaller. Magnesium's one of the more pronounced cofactors. It's extremely important. So if you ever think, hey, I want to rely more on natural things rather than SSRIs or what the psychiatrist is saying or what people are saying, if you also like to do research, definitely go and look for anecdotes of people taking certain nutrient stacks and what that might do for you. I would highly, highly recommend the very first thing you do if you're onto that is get yourself a good magnesium supplement. You can get them in droppers, you can get pills, you can get tablets, you can get it. You can put you could put salts in the bath as well. That will help you as well. You get Epsom salts, they're called. So you can put that.
Yeah, I've used those.
And that will transdermally, absorb through your skin.
Yeah.
So there's so many different ways you can get magnesium. Then also another cofactor for vitamin D, but also something that's independently required by your body in huge amounts and just your body's starved for right now is fish oil. No, omega-3. I know, it doesn't sound great, but this kind of stuff.
Yeah.
What are you making those squeamish faces for? Go on, tell me.
The pills taste bad.
Okay, they taste like fishy?
Yeah.
Okay, you took the wrong ones because high quality fish oil, by the way, this is liquid. This isn't even pills. So I actually drink these straight out of the bottle. I can promise you it does not taste fishy at all. If it tastes fishy, usually it's a bad product and it's gone rancid. Actually creates more damage to your body than it helps. It really isn't that bad when you get into it, when you start realizing the benefits it has on your sleep, your cognition, your muscular function and everything. So there's no one fix that's gonna magically, a cure-all solution. But definitely if you come up with a nutrient stack, especially vitamin D and the cofactors on that website. If you look at the cofactor section, there's a little diagram that shows you vitamin D and then there's overlaps. So there's exercise, there's omega-3 and there's all these overlaps. And honestly,
I see.
If you were able to just cover that would give you tremendous benefit. Taking a high strength vitamin D with your sleep, it would be insanely improved. With every single one of those factors will improve your sleep. The vitamin D will improve your sleep, especially if you get it in an MCT oil dropper version. The magnesium will tremendously help, relaxation, sleep, and actually give you energy when you need it. The omega-3 will help crazy with the sleep. Zinc is another cofactor that will also help you with your sleep. So it could just be your body's basically hey, you're looking over here, you're looking over at the psychiatrist, you're looking over at this, but have you stumbled across this information? And this information that I'm trying to present to you is not very available. There's no I can't sell it to you, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
There's no real way of me selling that information to you,
Yeah.
unless you already believe in it.
Mm-hmm.
If you already believed in this stuff and you came to me and said, okay, so tell me what to take, tell me what amounts to take, then I'd have a great business, right? But no one has that. You kind of have to go out and find out for yourself. I mean, if you're open to it, I guess you have to find out for yourself these things. Check with your doctor first, guys, because I'm not trained medically. I'm just some guy on the internet who happened to heal himself from chronic fatigue and autoimmune conditions and leaky gut and mental issues and stuff. And I've been doing my thing now for about 6 or 7 years and trying to get other people involved with healing themselves because it's my passion. But I realized that it took me most of my life to become damaged enough no, I'm being for real.
I'm on my way.
No, before I was completely damaged, I had really no interest in the intellectual side of learning about this stuff. And it was only when I become super damaged that I was like, holy wow, like this, all of my attention needs to be on this because I value myself. Now I look in the mirror, I'm like, hey, you know what? You love yourself. Why are you doing this? Why are you still eating sugary things late at night and, you know, like staying up all night and stuff? So there's guilt and then there's shame. I think shame can is unwarranted because we're being attacked by our environment. There's no reason to feel ashamed by that. There's really a lack of options of good information, good food, good nutrients anywhere. Why should we feel ashamed? We might feel a little bit guilty though. And the reason why we might feel guilty is because maybe if we take the initiative to find other people in our situation who have healed, we can learn tremendously from them. And that's what I did. I didn't learn from a nutritionist. I learned from sick people who healed themselves, you know? And that, I think, now that we have all the tools to collaborate, like now we're making a little podcast with strangers on the internet, we're able to talk to each other through the telecommunications. Yeah. We didn't have these things, you know, like 20, 30, 40 years ago. And we need to make use of these tools to bring global awareness to all these health conditions, to the pharmaceutical companies that prey on these health conditions like vultures. And they prey on our communities, they prey on our humanity, actually. Yeah. And all that's happening is we're being segregated and confined and domesticated in a way that we don't even realize, just to basically, we almost live to serve these companies in a way.
I know more than enough about that one.
Right? So that's kind of like my viewpoint.
Sorry, not my situation, but I know more than enough. Yeah. Yeah. No, I'm glad you are telling me about these things. I copied the website and stuff.
I'm going to
so I could learn about it more later.
I put my Discord in the chat.
I'm fine. Okay. So I sent you a friend request.
I'll probably like make a little podcast episode out of it and post it up and then send you the link. But then maybe, who knows, maybe at some point you'll be like, well, I'm interested in magnesium now. Yeah. I'm interested in vitamin D and what it can do for me. If that does happen, and that is the case, and you'd like more information on the doses that I take and what I would recommend for you and why I'd recommend that for you, I'll send all that information over to you. And if you happen to follow through with it and take some of the stuff, then I would absolutely be honored and delighted if you come back like a few months later or a couple months later and just give me an anecdote of how that might have helped you. Yes, it's been really great.
Will say though, I'm sorry to cut you off. Because you seem like you really care about healthcare. If you ever want to hear about any of the bad things I definitely know about healthcare, you let me know.
I do. I really do want to know.
Oh.
I want to literally my whole channel and everything is all about that.
So this one's, I'm not getting fully into it, but like my father just passed away, like the 28th. And he was in Vietnam War. Agent Orange, stuff like that. Government poisoned him. And he had a long fight with his healthcare professionals for a long time. And actually, they're the main reason that he's dead. Yeah. So.
Okay. So, and that was more recently that he passed away then?
Yeah.
Wow. Wait, your dad? Vietnam?
I'm adopted.
No. Oh, okay. That makes so much more sense now.
No, he was 77, 78 when he died. Yeah.
Yeah, I was definitely trying to work that one out. I was like,
no, he did not. Like at 50, him and my mom were just like, you know what?
Okay, well, if you're open to it, we could open up a whole thing about that. We'd talk about that. Down for that? So what's your name?
My name is Cass. What's your name?
Cass? Nice. Jazz. Well, it's been really great talking to you. This has been brilliant. I hope that listeners can get some value from this conversation, have understood today that health conditions can overlap. So if someone says they've got POTS, they might not know that they have hormonal issues. They might not know that they have chronic fatigue presently or on the way, or they might not know that SSRIs can create symptoms and side effects and prolong their recovery. They might not know many things like that we can talk about in another episode. So it's been really great talking to you, Cass. Nutrients and information and documents over as much as I can. And I really hope that you have a better outcome with your health condition and return to health soon. No, but you seem like highly aware of your situation. You seem like you're on point, avoiding caffeine, avoiding certain things, avoiding alcohol. This is brilliant. You seem health conscious, and I wish the best for you. And I guess until next time, Cass, it's been nice.
Thank you. You too.
Take
Have a
care.
nice day.
Have a good one.
You too.